One of my staff came to me some few years ago, more than 5 years ago, and said, let's do a graphic novel. And I sort of resisted. He knew of the Montgomery story that told the story of the Montgomery bus boycott through a comic book. And I had read the comic book like so many other young people did during the late 50s and the early 60s. And he didn't give up. He kept on saying, let's do it. And I said, yes, if you do it with me. And now it is a dream that has become true.
And he became your co-author as well, that's right?
That's right, he is the co-author.
That's Andrew Aiden.
Andrew Aiden. And Nate Powell, a well-known illustrator, is so gifted and talented and such a prolific illustrator. He brings it alive. And I'm so pleased and so delighted that I said yes. It's probably one of the most exciting things that I've been involved in for a long time, because I think this book, this graphic novel, is going to tell the story, not just my story, but the story of hundreds and thousands of people that participated in one of the great efforts in our country during the 20th century.
How was it working with the co-author?
Well, this young man would come and talk with me and ask questions, and I would try to do my best in answering the questions. I have a pretty good memory. I remember things. I remember the time of day, what I had on, what other people were wearing, remember the climate, whether it was storming or raining or thunder or lightning. And when I was growing up, people would ask me, why are you asking all those questions? And my mother used to accuse me of being nosy. It was not just being nosy, I was inquisitive. And I wanted to know things. So I remember things from the time I was 4 years old. And so it was easy for me to relive not just the story of the movement, but to relive my early days growing up in rural Alabama as a young child. The early comic book was the Montgomery story, Martin Luther King Jr. and the Montgomery story. And it was very, very powerful. An organization called the Fellowship of Reconciliation produced the book, and it was selling for 10 cents. And it became available to so many people in the movement.
There was a similarity in the cover illustration of March to the cover illustration on the Martin Luther King Jr. book from 1958. Was that intentional?
I think it was not necessarily intentional, but I think Andrew and Nate Powell had what I call something moving, and maybe they would say it different, but I think the spirit of history touched them, and they were moved and inspired. I love the cover. I love it. It's like in another setting, another time, another period in our history. It is so powerful. It makes it real. It is my hope and my belief that this work would encourage other members of Congress to tell their stories in a graphic novel, and that it would inspire especially young members to say, yes, let's use another way to reach people. Maybe not just young people, but also the average citizen in our districts, in our states. Make it plain, make it simple. When Dr. King would stand up to preach at his church in Atlanta, his father would say, son, make it plain. Make it plain, make it simple. I think the graphic novel is a way to make it plain. Drama. People would ask me during the height of the civil rights movement, what should we do, John? What should we do? And I would say, find a way to dramatize the issue. And every so often in our history, we need a way, we need to find a way or make a way to dramatize the issue so people can see it, they can feel it, they almost smell it. And that's what you can see in a graphic novel.